Hi, I'm Sean McCutcheon, author of the book Coming Together. Welcome to my channel where I talk about a lot of the same issues that I wrote about how we can, you know, work together to solve a lot of the social and political issues that we face. This video is the third part of a series that is going to focus on a lot of the attacks that are taking place against trans individuals, why it's important to fight them, and how we can fight these attacks. So the first part of this series focused on biological sex. There's a lot of discussion going on right now to very intentionally misunderstand what that means, right? So in that video, I covered what are the different, genetic components that can make us into male and female, right? It goes far beyond X and Y. There are numerous combinations, some of which are up on screen right now. Then going beyond that, whatever hormones are activated generally will then determine whether or not you become male, female, or any one of 30 different combinations of intersex, which used to be called hermaphrodites, but now is called intersex, right? So from a biological perspective, we don't fit into one of two boxes. Never have, never will. The second video looked at gender, right? Which is how we identify and how we present to other people, right? And to our society. In that video, we talked about the fact that gender is a social construct, okay? Now, that's not a negative thing. All it means is that each society, each culture gets to determine what markings, what characteristics are there for being masculine and what characteristics and markings there are for being feminine, right? We also talked about the fact that it's a spectrum, okay? What that means is that, we used to have different terms for manly men or, and very girly girls type things and everything in between, whereas now we call it a spectrum, right? And just like light, all because something is a spectrum doesn't mean individual colors don't exist. For a full breakdown of that information, please feel free to go check out those other videos. So, why are we here today? Again, today we're here to focus on the LGBT community, a lot of the attacks taking place against trans, why it's important for people such as myself, who is a cis straight man, to stand up for the trans community. Because what does it mean, right? Why is that important to someone like myself? Okay? So in this video, we're going to cover the attacks taking place against the trans community, why it's important to fight those attacks, and what we can do to stop them. Okay? So you've probably seen in a lot of instances where a lot of far right, you know, talking heads will come out and start attacking the trans community to push their agenda, right? This is not a new tactic. When fascists came to power in Germany in the 1930s, the Nazis, right, they implemented the same thing. So trans make up a very small percentage of the population, only 1%, right? So they have always been a small minority of the overall population, which makes them a very easy target for fascist groups to attack, right? Because there's not many, you may not be related to them, and therefore, if you start attacking them, well, who else is going to stand up for them, right? Here's where we need to stand up for them, right? Because these fascists aren't just stopping at trans, right? They are looking to take on the LGBT community community as a whole, and they're aiming their attacks at women, right? Um, all of which will have a hugely negative effect on our society, right? So first and foremost, people are not born wrong. As we just covered, right? Human biology and gender is far more comprehensive and far more varied than two simple boxes will allow, right? Forcing someone to fit into one of those boxes when they do not fit only causes greater psychological harm to them. Okay? And people that transition have a far fewer percentage of regretting that transition than not allowing them in the first place, right? So letting trans people be themselves, letting trans people transition is healthier and better for them in the long run, right? All of these rumors, all of these lies that go around about the trans community being far larger than it is fear propaganda. That's all it is. It's propaganda pushed by far right wing talking heads, exclusively designed to stoke fear, to stoke hatred, to stoke political points. They use this fear to attack schools. They use this fear to attack policies. They use this fear to divide communities, right? And we can't allow that to happen because it's just going to end up getting people killed, right? That's the way history has always shown us that when these types of policies start getting into place, it ends up with people dying, right? When, people start referring to them as they, that's a problem, right? You start to dehumanize people and you start to remove their humanity, and then it makes it easier to ostracize them, right? These are members of our family. These are members of our community. That is why we have to stick up for them. That is a reason we have to defend them, right? So here's what we can do, right? So first off, it's important to recognize the lies that they're telling about the trans community, right? They're not infiltrating schools. Learning about them is not a bad thing, right? A lot of these book bans are specifically designed to prevent children from learning empathy, from learning that the LGBTQ plus community is a normal and natural thing, right? That being a part of that community is something that is in every species, right? This hatred, this animosity towards them is only found in ours. And we need to get rid of this, right? So, what harm is it also doing as well? It is also dividing up the LGBT community from the T part of the community, right? There are people that think that as long as you can separate them, maybe ostracize them, right, that these fascists will leave the LGB part of the community alone, right? That is not what will happen, right? Um, in case you've never heard of the poem First They Came, right? That is never how that happens, right? If you've never heard of it, uh, check it out. It's in one of the pinned comments to this video. It is also found in the Holocaust Museum, right? Because this language, this division is always used to a very evil end, right? So allowing this insidiousness to infiltrate the LGBT community as a whole, right, only ends up making everyone weaker, right? Because it's causing divisions within that community, causing any attack against the trans community can then be applied to the LGBT, community, and then who's standing up for you, right? All right. So a lot of this fear mongering and hatred also has repercussions on women, right? Because these same groups that are attempting to limit what you can learn, limit what you know, limit, who you can talk to and empathize with, are the same organizations that are restricting where women can go and want to keep track of women's periods, right? Who want to limit the, the freedom of women and the control that they have over their own body. Okay. Um, this hateful rhetoric also ends up getting women attacked in bathrooms, like cis women getting attacked in bathrooms. Now, that's the second time I've used that term, cis. If you've not heard of it before, it's not a made up term. It is a scientific term from, chemistry, because that's what we're talking about, right? When we're talking about biology, right? Um, it means that what you were assigned as birth lines up with how you identify now, right? Okay, so it's not a made up term. Sometimes new sounding terms can sound scary, but they're not. Take a minute, take a minute to learn, and take a minute to empathize. Okay? All right, so we've covered the fact that these same organizations are that are attacking the trans community are attacking the LGB community, and of course that goes for the rest of the extended community, right? And are also attacking women, right? These are all being done as power plays to ensure that their idea of what happens gets put into power, that they get power, that they get influence, that they get money, right? And we need to take action to stop that. Okay? Here is the part where we talk about what we can do, right? One of the first things you can do is reach out to the ACLU, right? The American Civil Liberties Union is used to fighting these fights here in the United States against all of these laws that are you seek to discriminate and seek to hurt our fellow citizens. Okay. The next one is a Southern Poverty Law Center. You can check them out. They have a lot of good resources on organizations, and they will help designate things as hate groups, right? You have GLAAD, which is Gay and Lesbian Alliance, right? They also take action against a lot of these organizations and against a lot of these laws that are being put in place, as well as a human rights campaign. Okay, one organization we didn't talk about so much in this video, um, but the live groomers, right? Trans people are not groomers. Okay. Um, Again, you can't make someone something they're not, right? They're trans, they're becoming who they are, right? Um, so this idea that trans are groomers is really another hateful lie being spread about them, right? There has always been more sexual violence that takes place against the trans community than they ever cause, right? The organization RAINN is a great resource to look up information on that. To if you want to get involved in helping fight, sexual violence. Um, I'm not. It's one of my early YouTube videos. I may have to change my language there. Um, if you want to get involved in more local organizations that fight these these fascist groups, right? Moms for Social Justice is a great organization that's grassroots, that counteracts a lot of these organizations that come in and start getting rid of books in libraries, who start lying about um, what kind of books are even in libraries, right? Which is all just nonsense. Okay. In the description is a bunch of other resources and my source notes. If you want to check that out, do some uh, reading on your own, feel free. If you have any questions or feel that I didn't cover something that I should have, please leave that in the comments. There is a lot on this topic that I did not cover, mainly because this is more of a call to action and a call to get involved than it is anything else, right? I figure if you clicked on this link, you probably want to get more involved, and you don't so much need to learn about it, right? If you do want to learn about the trans community as a whole, I actually recommend checking out Jessie Gender's video. She is a trans YouTube creator, and she has talked about her transition. She's talked about everything that has gone on in her life, and she also is a huge fan of Star Wars, or sorry, is a huge fan of Star Trek. Um, and so that, if you want to learn more about the trans experience, that would be a good place. There's several other good YouTubers out there that you can probably check out as well. If you want me to link to those, let me know and I can do that. Um, the next video is going to be on uh, being a caregiver for someone with cancer. Um, Unlike the LGBT community, that's something I do have personal experience with. So I kind of want to pass along my tips and tricks that I've learned along the way for that. The one after that is going to be on being a good ally, right? What can we do? What can we do to help out, especially if you're not a member of a community such as that? What can you do that is actually helpful, right? Um, anyway, please leave a like and a comment. If you really like it, subscribe. Thank you very much. You have a great day. Take care of yourself and help look out for other people.